Next question is the number of 6-digit numbers made by using the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 without repetition and which are multiple of 15 is. In this question, 7 digits are given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Out of these 7 digits, we have to form the 6-digit number. And we have to calculate the total number of 6-digit numbers that can be formed by using these digits without repetition, and they should be a multiple of 15. Means that 6-digit number should be a multiple of 15. So first of all, we know that a number is a multiple of 15 when the number is divisible by 5 and when the sum of the digits of the number is divisible by 3. So this is the basic concept that is used here, that a number is multiple of 15 when the number is divisible by 5 and sum of digits of the number should be divisible by 3. And we have 7 different digits here. So if a number is a multiple of 15, it means that the number should be divisible by 5. And we know that a number is divisible by 5 only when the unit place consists of 5. For example, let us consider the numbers 25, 105, 35. All these numbers are divisible by 5. Why? Because the unit place consists of 5. So one thing is clear, that the unit place will be fixed with 5. We have to form a 6-digit number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the last place, which is the unit place, it will be fixed with the number 5 since the number should be divisible by 5. So now we have remaining 5 places. So we have to put 5 numbers in these 5 places in such a way that the sum of all the digits should be divisible by 3, right? So let us see the possible cases. How to make it divisible by 3? We have to take the remaining 5 digits in such a way that the sum becomes divisible by 3. So let us see how remaining 5 digits can be arranged. So first case can be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. When we place 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, then the sum of all these values is a number that is divisible by 3. Let us do the sum. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 5. It is equal to 21, and we know that 21 is divisible by 3, right? But one thing is clear, that unit place consists of 5 and there is no repetition of digits. That is why we cannot take 5 in the remaining 5 places. Okay, one digit is fixed. So the remaining 5 digits can be swapped also, right? For example, it can be written as 2, 3, 4, 6, 1. Okay, it is same only, means we can write every digit in 5 possible ways. So the total number of ways for 5 digits will be 5 factorial. I hope it is clear to you. We have 5 digits and all these 5 digits can be written in 5 different ways. Means one digit can be placed in any of the 5 places. So for one digit, we have 5 possible ways to place it. So for 5 digits, we have 5 factorial ways. What is 5 factorial? It is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. 5 into 4 is 20. 20 into 3 is 60. 60 into 2 is 120. So we have total possible 120 ways for the first case. Now let us talk about the second case. What can be the other 5 numbers? Other 5 numbers can be arranged in a way that 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. See, in the first case, we have not included 7. So now in the second case, we can include 7, right? Now let us check the digit. What will be the digit? It will be 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 5. The last digit is fixed. Now let us do the sum. 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 6 plus 7 plus 5. It is equals to 27. Again, 27 is divisible by 3, right? And this 5 numbers can be written in 5 factorial ways. So here also the total number of ways will be 5 factorial. What is 5 factorial? It is equal to 120. We have already calculated it, right? Here are 5 different digits, and this 5 different digits have the chances to be placed in 5 different places. Okay, we have 5 empty places to fill these digits. So for each digit, we have total number of ways, which is 5 factorial. Now let us talk about the third case. What can be the third case? 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. So the digit will be 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 5. Now let us do the sum of all the digits. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 6 plus 7 plus 5. So it will be equals to 24. Again, 24 is divisible by 3, right? And we know that last digit is fixed. So for the remaining 5 digits, we have total number of ways, which is 5 factorial. And what is 5 factorial again? It is 120. Okay, so we have 3 possible cases for this question. So now let us calculate the total possible 6-digit numbers that are divisible by 3 and that are multiple of 15, right? So what are the total ways? We have to add the ways for all these cases. Total ways means the total number of 6-digit numbers, right? So what will be the total number? 120 plus 120 plus 120. So it will be 120 plus 120 plus 120, which is equal to 360. So the total possible 6-digit numbers that are formed by using the given digits and that are the multiple of 15 are 360. So for this question, the correct answer is 360. I hope you are clear with this question. Next question is, let for f of x is equal to a0 x square plus a1 x plus a2, f dash 0 is equal to 1 and f dash 1 is equal to 0. If a0, a1 are in an arithmetic geometric progression whose corresponding AP has common difference 1 and corresponding GP has common ratio 2, then f of 4 is equal to. A lot of information is given about AP and GP here. And also it is given that A0, A1 and A2 are in arithmetic geometric progression. It means that AGP. Okay. It is the combination of AP and GP, which is AGP. Firstly, let us write the function that is given here. What is the function? F of x is equal to a0 x square plus a1x plus a2. Firstly, let us differentiate this function. Why? Because f dash 0 is equal to 1 and f dash 1 is equal to 0 is given, which is the differentiation value, right? So firstly, let us differentiate this function. So f dash x will be differentiation of a0 x square plus d by dx of a1x plus d by dx of a2. Here a0, a1 and a2 are the constants, right? So a0 will be outside. Now d by dx of x square. For this we have to use a formula which is d by dx of x to the power n is equal to n into x power n minus 1. So d by dx of x to the power 2 will be 2 into x power 2 minus 1. So it is 2 into x, right? So we have a0 into 2x plus d by dx of a1x. Again, a1 is a constant. So d by dx of x is 1 plus d by dx of a2. Since it is a constant, so its differentiation will be 0. So we have 2 a0x plus a1, right? This is the value of f dash x. Now two different values are given, which is f dash 0 is equal to 1. It means that when we put x is equal to 0 in this function, the value is 1. So let us put x is equal to 0. So we have 2 into a0 into x. What is x? 0 plus a1. So this whole term will be 0. So we have f dash 0 is equal to a1. But what is the value of f dash 0? It is 1. Therefore, we can say that a1 is equal to 1, right? Similarly, one more expression is given here, which is f dash 1 is equal to 0. So let us find f dash 1. When we put x is equal to 1 in this expression, we have 2a0 into 1 plus a1, right? So f dash 1 will be equal to 2a0 plus a1. Now what is the value of f dash 1? It is equal to 0. It is already given in the question. So we can write 0 is equal to 2a0 plus a1. We know the value of a1. What is a1? It is 1. So we can substitute it. So it will be 2a0 plus 1. So we have 2a0 is equal to minus 1. So what will be the value of a0? It will be minus 1 by 2. See, now we have the value of a0 and a1. What we have to calculate it is a2, because a0, a1 and a2 are in the arithmetic geometric progression, right? So we have a0 and a1. We have to calculate a2. So let us understand first that what is an AP, what is an GP, and what is an AGP. So basically, AP is defined as A, comma, A plus 1, comma, A plus 2. So it is basically in the form of A, comma, A plus D, comma, A plus 2D. These are the terms for AP. Now, if we talk about GP, which is the geometric progression, then the terms of GP are 1, then 1 into R, then 1 into R square. All right, so it will be 1 R, R square. These are the terms of GP. Now, if we combine both these terms, then AGP, which is arithmetic geometric progression, will be A into 1, A, then A plus D into R, then A plus 2D into R square, right? So this is the terms for AGP. We know the first and second term of AGP. What is the first and second term? A0 and A1, as it is already mentioned in the question. So we can say that A is here A0, then A plus D into R is A1, and A plus 2D into R square is A2. Okay. So let us substitute the values now. We have the values for A0 and A1, right? What are the values for A0? A0 is minus 1 by 2. So this AGP will be minus 1 by 2, comma. We have the value of A1. What is A1? A1 is 1, right? The value of A1 is 1. So let us substitute 1. Now we have to find A2. But before that, let us check this, that how A is equal to A0. See, we know that A0 is the first term. So it is minus 1 by 2. We have already calculated the value. Now we can check it for A1. In the question, it is given that the common difference for this question is 1 and the common ratio is 2. Means the value of D is 1 and the value of R is 2. What is R? The common ratio. And what is D? The common difference. So we can substitute the value of D and R here. What is A? A0. So we have A plus D into R. Okay, A is A0. What is the value of A0? Minus 1 by 2. Plus D. What is D? D is the common difference. D is 1 into R. R is 2. It is already given in the question. So minus 1 by 2 plus 1. When we take the LCM, it will be minus 1 plus 2 and multiplied by 2. So minus 1 plus 2 is 1 by 2 into 2. So 2 and 2 will be cancelled. So we have 1. You can see that the value of A1 is 1. So we have checked it. In similar way, we have to find A plus 2D into R square. So A plus 2D into R square. What is A? A is again A0. The value of A0 is minus 1 by 2. Plus 2D, 2 into D. The value of D is 1 into R square. What is R? R is 2. So R square will be 2 square. So this will be equals to minus 1 by 2 plus 2. 2 into 1 is 2 multiplied by 2 square, which is 4. Now again taking the LCM, LCM will be 2. So it will be minus 1 plus 4. Because 2 into 2 is 4 and again multiplied with 4. Minus 1 plus 4 is 3 by 2. 3 by 2 into 4. 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4. 3 into 2 is 6. So we have the third term, which is A2 is 6. The value of A2 is 6. Okay, so let us write all the values. We have A0 is equal to minus 1 by 2. A1 is equal to 1 and A2 is equal to 6. Since we have all this value, then we can find the actual value of f of x. See, the function is a0x square plus a1x plus a2. So let us substitute the values in the given function. What is the function? F of x is equals to a0 x square plus a1x plus a2. What is a0? Minus 1 by 2 into x square plus what is a1? 1. So 1 into x plus a2. a2 is 6. So it will be minus x square upon 2 plus 1 into x is x plus 6. This is the value of f of x. See, we have calculated the actual value of f of x. So now what we can do is we can easily find f of 4 since we have the value of f of x. So we can easily find f of 4. F of 4 means in the place of x we have to put 4, right? So let us put it minus of x square means 4 square by 2 plus x. What is x here? 4 plus 6. So it will be minus of 4 square is 16 by 2 plus 4 plus 6. Now what is minus 16 by 2? It is minus 8. So minus 8 plus 4 plus 6. Minus 8 plus 4 is minus 4. Minus 4 plus 6 is 2. So the value of f of 4 is 2. Therefore, for this question, the answer is 2, which is the value of f of 4. I hope you are clear with this question. In this question, we have used the basic concepts related to differentiation and the basic concepts about AP and GP. Next question is, suppose limit x tends to 0, f of x divided by x cube exists and is equal to L, where function f of x is equal to determinant of the given values. Then minus 112 into L is equal to. We have to calculate the value for minus 112 into L. What is L? L is equal to limit x tends to 0, f of x upon x cube. It means that we have to first solve the limit. But in order to solve the limit, we want the value of f of x. And what is f of x? It is a function which is equal to determinant of this given values. So first of all, we have to simplify the given function which is f of x. You can see that the function here is in the form of determinant. It means that we have to expand this determinant. Do you know how to expand a determinant? It is very simple. You have to write the first term. What is the first term? A plus sine x by 2. Then you have to eliminate the first row and the first column. This is the first row and this is the first column. When we eliminate this, what are the remaining terms? 0, a plus sine x by 2, a plus sine x by 2 and minus b cos x. Then with a negative sign, you have to write the second term. What is the second term? Minus b cos x. So minus minus will be plus. So plus b cos x. Now you have to eliminate first row and second column. So after eliminating the first row and second column, the remaining terms are minus b cos x, 0, a plus sine x by 2 and minus b cos x. Then with a positive sign, you have to write the third term. What is the third term? 0. Now you have to eliminate first row and third column. So after eliminating first row and third column, the remaining numbers are b cos x, 0, 0 and a plus sine x by 2. You can see that the last term is a multiple of 0. Means 0 is multiplied to this value. It means this whole value will be equal to 0, right? So what are the remaining terms? A plus sine x by 2. Now how to find the determinant of a 2 cross 2 values? You have to multiply 0 with minus b cos x. So 0 into minus b cos x is 0. Then you have to subtract the product of these two values. A plus sine x by 2 into a plus sine x by 2. So it will be a plus sine x by 2 square. Then we have plus b cos x. Now minus b cos x into minus b cos x will be plus b square into cos square x minus 0 into a plus sine x by 2 is 0. Then next, we know that the third term is 0. Since there is a 0 present here, so 0 into this whole term will be 0. So we have a plus sine x by 2 multiplied by minus of a plus sine x by 2 square plus b cos x into b square cos square x, right? You can see that here a plus sine x by 2 and a plus sine x by 2. Base is same and the power will be added. We know that if x power a into x power b is given, then base is same. So we write base once and we add the powers. So here the base is a plus sine x by 2 and the powers are 1 and 2. So 1 plus 2 is 3. And let us take this negative sign outside, right? When we take negative side common, then it will be minus of a plus sine x by 2 cube minus b into b square is b cube. Cos x into cos square x is cos cube x. So this is the value of the function f of x, right? We have expanded the determinant. Now we have to find limit. Limit x tends to 0, f of x upon x cube, right? So let us substitute the value of f of x. Limit x tends to 0. What is f of x? Minus of a plus sine x by 2 cube minus b cube into cos cube x divided by x cube, right? Now, focus on the given limit. What is the given limit here? X is equal to 0. So, when x will be equal to 0 means when the denominator will be equal to 0, only when a and b will be equal to 0, right? So, let us put a is equal to 0 and b is equal to 0. I hope this concept is clear to you. Here, the given limit exists only when a is equal to 0 and b is equal to 0. So when a is equal to 0 and b is equal to 0, we have limit x tends to 0 minus of a. A is 0. So 0 plus sine x by 2 is sine x by 2 and cube minus b cube. You know that b is 0. So 0 into cos cube x will be 0 divided by x cube. So this is equal to limit x tends to 0 minus of sine x by 2 divided by x, and you can see that both have the powers which is 3. So we can combine the power and we can write it as whole cube, right? Now we have to use a basic formula here which is limit x tends to 0 sine x upon x. It is always equals to 1. But here the term is sine x by 2 upon x. Means both these terms are not equal. We have to make both these terms equal. Okay. So let us do one thing. Limit x tends to 0 minus of sine x by 2 cube, right? Divided by. We are not writing the powers now. We are just solving the part that is inside the bracket. We have to make this x to x by 2, right? So let us do one thing. Let us divide the denominator by 4. Okay. Now x by 4 can be also written as x by 2 into 2. So let us take 1 by 2 outside. Okay. Let us take this 1, 2 outside because we want to make it x by 2. So limit x tending to 0 minus of 1 by 2. See, this whole expression is in cube. So when 1 by 2 will come outside, it will be 1 by 2 cube, right? Multiplied by. Now what is the remaining terms? Sine x by 2 divided by x by 2 and whole cube, right? We have taken 1, 2 outside, so the remaining term will be x by 2. And since it is in cube, so we have written whole cube. And remember that when 1 by 2 will come outside, it is also inside the bracket, right? So it is also in the terms of cube. So that is why it is minus 1 by 2 cube. Now we can apply this formula, which is limit x tends to 0, sine x upon x is 1. So it will be minus 1 by 2 cube. It is minus 1 by 8. 2 cube is 8, right? Multiplied by sine x upon x. Now this is in the terms of sine x upon x. So its value is 1. So 1 cube. So it is equal to minus 1 by 8 into 1, which is equal to minus 1 by 8. And this value is what? It is actually the value which is equal to limit x tends to 0 f of x upon x cube. And it is given that this value is equal to L. It means that we have the value of L. What is L? L is equal to minus 1 by 8. Now we have to find minus 112 L, means minus 112 into L. So let us put the value minus 112 into L. What is L? Minus 1 by 8. So this minus and minus will be cancelled. We have 112 by 8. It will be also cancelled with the table of 2, right? So let us cancel it. 4 and here it will be 56. Then 2 and 28. Then 1 and 14. So the answer will be 14. So for this question, the value of minus 112 into L is equal to 14. Hence the correct answer is 14. I hope you are clear with this question. Next question is, if for some alpha greater than 0, the area of the region x comma y such that y lies between mode of x plus alpha and 2 minus mode of x is equal to 3 by 2, then the area of the region x comma y such that y lies between 0 and x plus 2 alpha, where mod of x is less than equals to 1 is equal to. It is a very interesting question. Area of a region is given, which is 3 by 2. And what is the region? The region is y lies between mod of x plus alpha and 2 minus mod of x. So for this region, the area is 3 by 2, which is given to us. We have to find the area of another region where y lies between 0 and x plus 2 alpha and mod of x is less than equals to 1. Firstly, understand this condition. Here we have mode. It means we have two different values. One is positive and one is negative. So if we consider y is equal to mode of x plus alpha, then we have two different values. When we take positive, so it will be y is equal to x plus alpha. And when we take negative, it will be y is equal to minus x minus alpha. Similarly, for second part, if we consider y is equal to 2 minus mode of x, then for mode of x, we have two values, plus x and minus x, which is positive value and negative value. So when we take plus, it will be y is equal to 2 minus positive x. So it will be 2 minus x. When we take negative sign, so it will be y is equal to 2 minus minus x. Okay, when we take negative x, it will be 2 minus minus x. So minus minus will be plus. So y will be equal to 2 plus x. You can see that we have four different values of y. So let us draw it graphically. Let us consider it the coordinate axis, right? Let this be the coordinate axis. We will have four different lines, right? First line will be in this way. And the second line will be somehow in this way. Now this is the line for y is equal to x plus alpha. This is the line for y is equal to minus x minus alpha. All right. This is the line for y is equals to 2 plus x. And this is the line for y is equal to 2 minus x. All right. Here you can see that we have so many points. And the intersecting point for this and this line is this point. And the intersecting point for the other two lines is this point. So let us name it as A and B. Let us name the other points too. Let us name this point as C, D, E, right? And let us name this point as R. Now you can see that the common region for all these four lines is this region. And the common region is BRAE. All right. Now let us do one thing. Let us join this point B to the x-axis. And let us join this point A to the x-axis. Okay. Let us name it M and N. I hope the diagram is clear to you. Okay. All right. Now what will be point E? Point E will be 0, 2. Okay. How 0, 2? See, if y is equal to 2 plus x, in this condition, if we put x is equal to 0, then we have y is equal to 2, right? That is why this point is 0, 2. All right. And point D will be its opposite, 2, 0. All right. I hope you are clear with it. If we put y is equal to 0 here in this condition, which is y is equal to 2 minus x. If y is equal to 0, it will be 0 is equal to 2 minus x. Okay. So minus x will be equal to minus 2. So x will be equal to 2. So we have another 2 points, 2, 0. All right. Now, if we talk about point C here, it will be minus 2, 0. All right. I hope the diagram is clear to you. And if we talk about the coordinates of point M, it is minus alpha, 0. All right. How minus alpha, 0? If we put y is equal to 0 here. So 0 is equal to x plus alpha and x will be equal to minus alpha. So we have minus alpha, 0. All right. So this is the basic diagram for this given condition. Now let us do one thing. Let us find the coordinates of A and B. A and B are the intersection point of all the four lines, right? A is the intersection point for two lines, y is equal to x plus alpha and y is equal to 2 minus x. And B is the intersection point for y is equal to minus x minus alpha and y is equal to 2 plus x. So first let us find the coordinates of point A. So we know that A is the intersection of two lines, okay? So for A, we have two lines, which is y is equal to x plus alpha and y is equal to 2 minus x. All right. From here, we can get the value of x. Y minus 2 will be equal to minus x. Okay. So x will be equal to minus y plus 2, or we can write x is equal to 2 minus y. Now let us put this value of x here. So y will be equal to x. What is x? 2 minus y plus alpha. Take both the y on one side. So y plus y will be 2y is equal to 2 plus alpha. All right. So y will be equal to 2 plus alpha upon 2. Okay. Now put this value of y again in this expression. So we have x is equal to 2 minus y. What is y? 2 plus alpha upon 2. All right. So it will be equal to 2 minus alpha upon 2 after taking the LCM. You can see that we have the value of y and x. Okay, and we have found this value for A. It means that the coordinate of point A is, what is the x coordinate? 2 minus alpha upon 2. And what is the y coordinate? 2 plus alpha upon 2. Similarly, let us find the coordinates for point B. What is point B? Point B is intersection of two lines. Y is equal to 2 plus x and y is equal to minus x minus alpha. So y is equal to 2 plus x and y is equal to minus x minus alpha. All right. So here also we can find the value of x from this portion. X will be equal to y minus 2. Right. Now put the value of x here. So y will be equal to minus of x. What is x? Y minus 2 minus alpha. So y will be equal to minus y minus minus plus 2 minus alpha. Now taking this y on the left hand side, it will be plus. So y plus y is 2y. 2y is equal to 2 minus alpha and y will be equal to 2 minus alpha upon 2. Now let us put this value of y here. So x will be equal to y. What is y? 2 minus alpha upon 2 minus 2. Now after taking LCM, LCM is 2. We have 2 minus alpha minus 4. So x will be equal to minus 2 minus alpha divided by 2, right? Or we can write x is equal to minus alpha minus 2 divided by 2. All right. Again, we have the values for x coordinate and y coordinate for point B. What is x coordinate? It is minus alpha minus 2 divided by 2. What is y coordinate? 2 minus alpha upon 2. Okay. If we have the coordinates of A and B, it means that we have the y coordinate for the line BM and AN. Okay. What is AN? It is the y coordinate of point A. And what is BM? It is the y coordinate of point B. Okay. So it is clear that AN is y coordinate of point A. If it is y coordinate, then what is y coordinate of point A? It is 2 plus alpha upon 2. So AN is 2 plus alpha upon 2. Similarly, BM. BM is the y coordinate of point B. You can see it. So what is y coordinate of point B? We have calculated it. It is 2 minus alpha upon 2. All right. Now let us focus on this diagram. Okay. If we want the region of the common area. Okay. Why we want the region of common area? Because here the area of the region for this condition is already given, which is 3 by 2. Okay. So let us calculate it again. The area of region BRAE is given 3 by 2. Now, if we want to calculate from this representation, how can we calculate it? It is very simple. You can see there is a triangle CED. If from this triangle, we only want this shaded region, then we have to eliminate these two parts, right? Means firstly, we have to find the area of triangle CDE. Then we have to subtract the area of triangle BCR and the area of triangle ARD. All right. Let us consider this diagram again. Let this be the x-axis. We have the diagram in this way, right? And this is the area that we have to find. And this triangle is E, C, and D. So if we want to find only this area, then what we can do is we can first find the area of this whole triangle. And then we can subtract this portion and this portion. Then the remaining portion will be the required shaded portion. Okay. So area of the shaded region . What is the shaded region? It is BRAE. So area of shaded region BRAE will be equal to what? Area of triangle CDE, right? Minus area of triangle BCR plus area of triangle ARD. You can check it. Area of triangle CDE. From CDE, we have to subtract the area of two portions, and both the portions are triangle. First is the triangle BCR, right? This is the triangle. And second portion is what? ARD. So we have to subtract this part and this part. So minus area of triangle BCR plus area of triangle ARD. Okay. Now how we will find area of triangle CDE? It will be half into base into height. So half into base into height. Now let us see CDE. This is CDE. Okay. Here the values of base and height will be 4 and 2. All right. What is the height? Height is actually the point E. Okay. You can see that this is the origin. OE is the height. And what is the y coordinate of E? It is 2. So height is 2 and the base will be 4. All right. So we have half into 4 into 2 minus area of triangle BCR. For this also we require half into base into height, right? For BCR, what is the height? BM is the height and base is CR, okay? So what is the value of base? Here the value of base is minus alpha plus 2, okay? You can see we have values minus alpha plus 2. So the base will be minus alpha plus 2 into BM. BM is the height. Okay. Now, how do you find BM? BM is actually the y coordinate of B, right? What is the value of BM? 2 minus alpha upon 2. So, 2 minus alpha upon 2 plus area of triangle ARD. Again, half into base into height. So, half into. Let us see what is the base of ARD. For ARD, RD is the base, right? So, what will be its value? Its value will be 2 plus alpha. So, we have 2 plus alpha into height. What is height for ARD? For the triangle ARD, the height is AN. And we know the value of AN. AN is 2 plus alpha upon 2. So 2 plus alpha upon 2. Now, this 2 and 2 will be cancelled. So 4 is remaining minus. Now, if we look at this part, all right, the denominator will be what? Denominator will be 2 into 2, 4. Okay. Now, let us do one thing. Let us take minus common from here. So it will be 2 minus alpha and this will be also 2 minus alpha. So we have 2 minus alpha into 2 minus alpha divided by 2 into 2 is 4 plus. If we talk about this part, again the denominator is 2 into 2, 4. What is numerator? 2 plus alpha into 2 plus alpha, right? Again 4 minus 2 minus alpha into 2 minus alpha can be written as 2 minus alpha square divided by 4 plus 2 plus alpha into 2 plus alpha can be written as 2 plus alpha square divided by 4, right? Now, what is this value? This is the value for the area that is already given. See, the area of this region is already given, which is 3 by 2. It means that this value is ultimately equal to what? It is equal to 3 by 2, right? Now, let us do one thing. Let us take the numbers on one side and let us take the other part on the right hand side. So, we have 4 minus 3 by 2 is equal to, this is minus, so it will be positive. So we have 2 minus alpha whole square divided by 4 plus 2 plus alpha whole square divided by 4. Now, if we take the LCM here, 4 by 1 minus 3 by 2. What is the LCM? LCM is 2. 4 into 2 is 8. 8 minus 3. So we have 5 by 2. So 5 by 2 is equals to 2 minus alpha whole square by 4 plus 2 plus alpha whole square by 4, right? Again, the 4 is common, which is the denominator. So we can write 5 by 2 is equal to 2 minus alpha square plus 2 plus alpha square divided by 4. Now let us take 4 to the left hand side. So it will be multiplied. So 4 into 5 by 2 is equal to 2 minus alpha square plus 2 plus alpha square. Since this 4 is in division, so when it will go to the other side, it will be multiplied. Okay. So we have 2 ones are 2 and 2 twos are 4. So 5 into 2 is 10. So we have 10 is equal to 2 minus alpha whole square plus 2 plus alpha whole square. All right. You can see that it is a minus b, a plus b. Okay. So here when we simplify this value, this will be equal to 10 is equal to 2 alpha square plus 8. So 10 minus 8 will be equal to 2 alpha square. This is plus 8. When it will go to the left hand side, it will be minus. 10 minus 8 is 2. 2 is equal to 2 alpha square. So alpha square will be 2 by 2. which is 1, right? If alpha square is equal to 1, it means we have two different values of alpha, which is plus minus 1. But in the question, a condition is given that for some alpha greater than 0, means it is very clear that alpha should be greater than 0. It means that one value is not acceptable here. We accept only the value which is plus 1. So alpha is equal to plus 1, right? Now, let us look at the region for which we have to find the area. We have to find the area of this region, right? So let us write it. The condition is y lies between 0 and x plus 2 alpha, and mod of x is less than or equals to 1. What is the value of alpha? Alpha is plus 1. We are only considering one value which is plus 1. According to alpha is greater than 0. All right. So when we put alpha is equal to 1 here, okay, what we have? Y lies between 0 and x plus 2. 2 into 1 is 2. And mod of x is less than equals to 1. Again, if y is equal to x plus 2 and y is equal to 0. Here there is no mod, right? It means that y will be equals to x plus 2 and y will be equals to 0. Here we have mod, which is mod x. It means x will have two values, minus 1 and plus 1. Okay, it means that x lies between minus 1 and plus 1. Okay, it is simple. X is equal to minus 1 and x is equal to plus 1. So now let us draw it graphically. Okay. We have four different conditions. So let us consider this as the coordinate axis. Let us draw a line for y is equal to x plus 2. Okay. So firstly, let us put some values. If we have y is equal to x plus 2, and if we put x is equal to 0, then y will be equal to 0 plus 2, which is 2. So when x is 0, y is 2, right? So this is 1 point. It means that this line will intersect at y is equal to 2. So let us consider some points here. 1, 2. If it intersect at y is equal to 2, then this will be the line, right? Now, we have x is equal to minus 1 and x is equal to plus 1. Firstly, this is the line for y is equal to x plus 2, right? If x is equal to minus 1, it will be here. Consider x is equal to minus 1 and x is equal to plus 1. So this will be a line. And this will be also a line. This is x is equal to minus 1 and this is x is equal to plus 1. All right. So for this point, the coordinates will be 1, 0, x is 1 and y is 0. All right. And for this point, the coordinates will be what? Minus 1, 0. If this is minus 1, this point will be minus 2. So here the coordinates are minus 2, 0, right? And this is the line representing y is equal to 0. You can see that here all the values of y will be 0 since it is x-axis and this is y-axis. All right. Now, this point A have the coordinates. This is point A, B, C and D. Okay. This is the common region that we have to find. All right. Now, if we talk about the coordinates here, we know that here point D will be what? 1, 3. All right. How 1, 3? We have y is equal to x plus 2. If x is 1, y will be equal to 1 plus 2. So if x is 1, y will be equal to 3, right? So we have 1, 3. Now let us talk about the area. Area of this region ABCD will be equal to half into 1 plus 3 into 1 minus 1. So it will be half into 1 plus 3 is 4 and 1 minus 1 will be 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 and 2 will be cancelled. So we have 4. So area of this region ABCD is 4. Okay, and what is the region? It is the region that is formed by these two conditions. And this is the area that we have to calculate, right? So the area for this question is 4. So the correct answer is 4. I hope you are clear with this question. Next question is, let f of t is equal to integral of 0 to t e power x cube into x power 8 divided by x power 6 plus 2x cube plus 2 whole square dx. If f of 1 plus f dash 1 is equal to alpha into e minus 1 by 6, then the value of 150 alpha is equal to. In the question, a function is given which is in the form of integral. So let us first write the given function. F of t is equal to integral of 0 to t e power x cube multiplied by x power 8 divided by x power 6 plus 2x cube plus 2 whole square and dx. One more thing is given in the question, which is f of 1 plus f dash 1 is equal to alpha into e minus 1 by 6. So let us do one thing. Let us first find the value of f of 1 and f dash 1. F dash 1 is representing the differentiation. So let us first differentiate the given function f of t. So f dash t will be differentiating on both the sides. Differentiation of t will be 1 into e power t cube multiplied by t power 8 divided by t power 6 plus 2 into t cube plus 2 whole square. This is the value of the differentiation of the function f of t. Now, let us calculate f dash 1. Okay, we have f dash t. So, f dash 1 will be, we have to put 1 in the place of t. So, e power t cube. What is t? 1. 1 cube is 1. Multiplied by t power 8. So, 1 power 8 is again 1. Divided by t power 6. 1 power 6 is 1. Plus 2 into t cube. 2 into 1 will be 2. Plus 2 and whole square. So it will be e power 1 is e multiplied by 1 upon 1 plus 2 is 5 and 5 square is 25. So it is equal to e by 25. The value of f dash 1 is e by 25. Now let us calculate f of 1. To calculate f of 1, we need the value of f of t, which is in the form of integral. It means that we have to solve this integral. So let us solve it. F of t is equal to integral of 0 to t e power t cube multiplied by x power 8 divided by x power 6 plus 2x cube plus 2 and whole square and dx. Now let us do one thing. Let us put x cube is equal to z, right? See, here there is x cube. In the given function, we have e power x cube, right? Now, if x cube is equal to z, on differentiating both the sides, we will have 3x square dx is equal to dz. Here we have used the formula for d by dx of x to the power n. It is n into x power n minus 1. Here we have x cube. So, d by dx of x cube will be 3 into x power 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. Again, if we differentiate x, then it will be dx. And d by dx of z is dz, right? So we have 3x square dx is equal to dz. So from here, x square dx will be equal to dz upon 3, right? And if x cube is equal to z, then its square means x cube square will be equal to z square. Now what is x cube square? It will be x power 6 is equal to z square, right? Because 3 into 2 is 6. But in the numerator, you can see we have x to the power 8. So we can split it. We can split x to the power 8 into x to the power 6 multiplied by x square, right? So f of t will be equal to integral of 0 to t e power x cube. What is x cube? X cube is equal to z. So e power z multiplied by, we have splitted x to the power 8 into x to the power 6 into x square divided by x to the power 6 plus 2x cube plus 2 whole square. And we have dx, right? Now let us substitute the values. We know that x to the power 6 is z square and x square and dx, it is equal to dz upon 3, okay? So f of t will be equal to integral of 0 to t e power z into x power 6 is z square, x square and dx is dz upon 3 divided by x power 6 is again z square plus 2 into x cube. X cube is equal to z plus 2 and whole square, right? Now let us take this 1 by 3 outside. So we have integral of 0 to t, okay, and 1 by 3 should be outside. So 1 by 3 integral of 0 to t e power z into z square dx, right? dz. It is z square dz divided by z square plus 2z plus 2 whole square. All right. So here you can see that in the numerator we have the term which is z square. In the denominator we have z square plus 2z plus 2. So let us do one thing. F of t should be equal to 1 by 3 integral of 0 to t e power z, right? Now in the numerator, let us first write the term that is given. What is given? Z square. Now let us do one thing. Let us add 2z. If we are adding 2z, then we should also subtract it to balance it. So let us subtract. And let us add 2. If we are adding 2, then we also have to subtract it, right? Now the denominator will be same. Z square plus 2z plus 2 whole square, right? And we have dz. Now we can arrange these terms. 1 by 3 integral of 0 to t e power z into, we can write z square plus 2z plus 2, right? Minus 2z and minus 2. We can write it in this way. Divided by z square plus 2z plus 2 whole square and dz. Now let us do one thing. Let us split this into two parts. Okay. Let this be the first part and let this be the second part. So it will be 1 by 3 into integral of 0 to t e power z into z square plus 2z plus 2 divided by, the denominator will be same, z square plus 2z plus 2 whole square, right? Minus, we have taken minus common from minus 2z and minus 2. So it will be 2z plus 2 divided by z square plus 2z plus 2 whole square and dz, right? Now you have to notice one thing here. Okay. Here z square plus 2z plus 2 and z square plus 2z plus 2 will be cancelled. So we have 1 upon z square plus 2z plus 2, right? So it will be 1 by 3 into integral of 0 to t e power z into 1 upon z square plus 2z plus 2 minus 2z plus 2 divided by z square plus 2z plus 2 whole square and dz. Okay. Now you have to focus on this part. Okay. Let this part be f of z. Okay. So if we differentiate f of z, okay, if we differentiate this part, what is part? Z square plus 2z plus 2. If we differentiate it, it will be 2z plus 2, right? Differentiation of z power 2 will be 2z and differentiation of 2z will be 2, which is actually equal to what? It is actually equal to the second term. It means that we have a form which is e power z into f of x, right? Plus f of z, sorry. If we are taking z, we have to take all the terms in the form of z. Okay, so let us write it again. It is in the form of e power z into f of z plus f dash z, right? This is f of z. And the second term is f dash z. So you have to use a form here, which is e power z f of z is always equals to integral of e power z f of z plus f dash z. All right. So this part will be equal to what? E power z f of z, right? So we can write it as 1 by 3. This whole part will be equal to what? E power z f of z. So e power z, what is f of z? The first part. 1 upon z square plus 2z plus 2. And what are the limits here? The limits are 0 to t cube, right? So now let us put the limits. So when we put the limits, we have 1 by 3 into e power z into 1 upon. When we put the limits here, we have z square plus 2z plus 2. And the limits are 0 to t cube. Okay, now let us put the limits. 1 by 3 into e power z. What is the limit? T cube. So e power t cube into 1 upon z square. Z square means t cube square. So what is t cube square? It is t power 6 plus 2 into z. 2 into t cube plus 2. When we will substitute 0, the whole term will be 0, right? So this will be the expression. And again, this both term will be 0, but the remaining term will be what? 1 by 2. See, we have 1 upon z square plus 2z plus 2. When we substitute 0 here, then it will be 1 upon 0 square, 0 plus 2 into z is 2 into 0 plus 2. So the remaining term is what? 1 by 2. Okay, so here we have minus 1 by 2, right? So this will be 1 by 3 into e power t cube, right? Into 1 upon t power 6 plus 2t cube plus 2 minus 1 by 2. All right. Now we have the value of f of t. This is the exact value of f of t. Okay, we can arrange this 1 by 3 into e power t cube divided by t power 6 plus 2t cube plus 2 minus 1 by 2. This is the value of f of t. We have to calculate f of 1. So let us calculate f of 1. It means in the place of t we have to put 1. So 1 by 3 into e power t cube. T is 1. So e power 1 will be e, right? So e divided by t power 6. 1 power 6 is 1 plus 2 into t cube. 2 into 1 is 2 plus 2 minus 1 by 2. All right. So f of 1 will be equal to 1 by 3 into e divided by 1 plus 2 is 5 minus 1 by 2. So this is the value of f of 1. Now a condition is given in the question. What is the condition? F of 1 plus f dash 1 is equal to alpha into e minus 1 by 6. So let us write the condition. What is the condition? F of 1 plus f dash 1 is equal to alpha into e minus 1 by 6. We have the value of f of 1. So let us put it 1 by 3 into e by 5 minus 1 by 2 plus what is f dash 1? We have calculated the value for f dash 1, right? So what is f dash 1? F dash 1 is e by 25. So let us substitute it. So plus e by 25. It is equal to alpha into e minus 1 by 6, right? Now we just have to simplify these values, right? So let us multiply it. 1 by 3 into e by 5 is e by 3 into 5 is 15 minus 1 by 3 into 1 by 2, 1 by 6 plus e by 25 is equal to alpha into e minus 1 by 6, right? Now this minus 1 by 6 and minus 1 by 6 will be cancelled. So we have e by 15 minus e by 25. No, plus e by 25. Here there is positive sign, right? It is equal to alpha into e. Now let us take the LCM. So LCM will be 15 into 25, right? So 15 into 25 will be 150. When we take the LCM, we have 10e plus 6e as the numerator and right hand side is alpha into e, right? Now what is 10 plus 6? 16. So 16e divided by 150 is equal to alpha e, right? Now this e and e will be cancelled. So we have 16 upon 150 is equal to alpha. So what will be the value of alpha? Alpha will be equal to 16 upon 150. At last we have to calculate 150 alpha. Means we have to calculate 150 into alpha. We have the value of alpha. So let us substitute it. So 150 into alpha. What is alpha? 16 upon 150. So this 150 and 150 will be cancelled. So the value of 150 into alpha is 16. So for this question, this is the required answer. Hence, we can say that the correct answer for this question is 16. I hope you are clear with this question. In this question, we have used so many basic concepts related to integration and differentiation. And the main concept that we have used here is e power x f of x is always equals to integral of e power x f of x plus f dash x. So this is the basic concept that you have to use here. So I hope you are clear with this question. Next question is, a hostel has 100 students. On a certain day, consider it day 0. It was found that 2 students are infected with some virus. Assume that the rate at which the virus spreads is directly proportional to the product of the number of infected students and the number of non-infected students. If the number of infected students on 4th day is 30, then the number of infected students on 8th day will be. It is a very interesting question, and this question is very different from all the questions that we have solved. So let us first understand this question briefly. Okay, it is given that a hostel has 100 students. It means that we have the total number of students, right? So what is the total number of students? Total number of students is 100. Further, it is given that on a certain day, considering that day as day 0, there were 2 students who were infected with some virus, and a lot of information is given about the time and the number of students who are infected. So let us do one thing. Let us first suppose the value of time be t, and let the number of infected students be X. All right. Now let us again read the question. It is given that on a certain day at day 0, okay, means if we are considering time in terms of days, so when t is equal to 0, then it was found that 2 students are infected with some virus. Okay, what are the number of students that are infected? We have supposed that the number of students infected is X. So it means that when t is equal to 0, X is equal to 2. What is t here? It is in the form of days. So at 0 day, the number of students infected is 2. All right. This is the value that is given here. Assume that the rate at which the virus spreads. So the rate is directly proportional to the product of two things. The product is of infected students and non-infected students. So first let us think about non-infected students. We have total number of students 100. If from 100 students, X students are infected, then the remaining will be non-infected, right? So non-infected students will be 100 minus X. So number of non-infected students will be equal to total number of students minus number of infected students. So number of non-infected students are 100 minus X. I hope this concept is clear to you. See, the total number of students are 100. If out of 100, X students are infected, then the remaining will be non-infected. And what are remaining? Remaining students are 100 minus X. So we have number of non-infected students. Now let us talk about rate of this infection. Okay, it is given that the rate at which the virus spreads, it means that the rate is rate of infection. So how we can describe rate of infection? We have assumed the value of time as t and the number of infected students as x. So rate of infection in terms of time will be dx upon dt, right? Now, this rate, which is dx upon dt, is directly proportional to product of two things. Okay, it is proportional to product of number of infected students and number of non-infected students. So what is the number of infected students? It is x multiplied by number of non-infected students. It is 100 minus x. So this is the condition that is formed on the basis of the given question. Now let us remove this proportionality sign. When we remove this sign, then we get a constant, right? So let k be a constant. Then it is multiplied by x into 100 minus x. Now let us do one thing. Let us take the terms of x on one side. So dx upon x into 100 minus x is equal to k into dt. When this dt will go to right hand side, it will be multiplied, right? Now let us do one thing. Let us integrate both the sides. You can see in the left hand side, the numerator consists of dx and the denominator consists of x into 100 minus x, right? So let us do one thing. Let us multiply and divide by 100 here. Okay, so it will be integral of 1 by 100 into 100 divided by x into 100 minus x and dx. This is equal to integral of k dt. Again, you can see that we have 100 in the numerator, but there are no terms which consist of x. So let us do one thing. Let us add an x. If we are adding a x, we have to also subtract it just to balance it, right? So now this 1 by 100 will be constant. So let us take this 1 by 100 outside. What is remaining here? 100 plus x minus x divided by x into 100 minus x and dx. It is equal to integral of k dt. All right. So now this expression can be splitted into two parts. Okay. 1 by 100 is a constant. Integral of, now this expression can be splitted into two parts. The first part will be 1 by x. Second part will be 1 by 100 minus x, right? And dx. It is equal to integral of k dt. Okay. So it is 1 upon 100 into integral of 1 by x dx plus integral of 1 by 100 minus x dx. It is equal to integral of k dt, right? Now, what is integral of 1 by x dx? It is very basic formula. Integral of 1 by x dx is always equals to log x. This term is also in the form of integral of 1 by x dx, right? So integral of 1 by 100 minus x dx will be equal to log of 100 minus x, right? So we have 1 by 100 into integral of 1 by x dx is log x, right? Then integral of 1 by 100 minus x is plus log of 100 minus x, right? Then we have to integrate minus x too. So integral of minus x will be minus 1. So this plus sign will be changed to minus sign. Okay. We have taken the integration of 1 upon 100 minus x. Okay. So we have to take the integral of 100 minus x also. 100 is a constant. So its integral will be 0. And if we talk about integral of minus x. Okay. So it will be minus of 1. So this plus sign will be changed to minus sign. In the right hand side, we have integral of k dt. Here k is a constant, so k will come outside. Integral of dt is what? T plus c. All right. So this is the form now. Again, we have to use a property here, which is log m minus log n. It is always equals to log m by n. You can see that we have log m minus log n. So it will be 1 by 100 into log m minus log n is log m upon n. So log x upon 100 minus x, right? And in the right hand side, we have kt plus c. Now, this is the value when we integrate this term, right? Which is 1 by 100 into log x upon 100 minus x is equal to kt plus c. Now, a value is given to us, which is at t is equal to 0, x is equal to 2. Means at 0 day, the number of infected students is 2. So let us substitute this value in this given expression. T is equal to 0, then x is equal to 2. Let us put the values. So we have 1 by 100 into log of x. What is x? 2. 100 minus x. 100 minus 2 will be 98. This is equals to kt. Since t is 0, so k into 0 will be 0. So in the right hand side, the remaining term is c. Now we have the value of c. Let us put this value of c again in this equation. Okay, let us consider it as equation number 1. So putting the value of c in equation number 1, we have 1 by 100 into log of x upon 100 minus x is equals to kt plus c. What is the value of c? This is the value of c. So 1 by 100 into log of 2 by 98, right? Now, if we want the value of kt, then this whole expression will go to the left hand side. So 1 by 100 into log of x upon 100 minus x minus 1 by 100 into log of 2 by 98 will be equals to kt. Since this expression is positive on the right hand side, so when it will come to the left hand side, it will be negative, right? So now we have the value of kt. Now let us substitute another value. First, let us read the question. It is given that if the number of infected student on 4th day is 30, what is the number of days? 4. So when t is equal to 4, the number of infected students are 30. What is the number of infected students? It is x. So when t is equal to 4, x is equal to 30. So let us now substitute this value here. T is equal to 4 and x is equal to 30. All right. So we have 1 by 100 into log of x. What is x? 30 divided by 100 minus x. Okay. So what is 100 minus x? It is 70, right? 100 minus 30 is 70. Minus 1 by 100 into log of 2 by 98. It is equal to k into t. K into t. What is the value of t? 4. So we have 4k here. Okay. Now you can see that 1 by 100 is common here. So let us take it common. What are the remaining terms? Log of 30 by 70, right? And minus log of 2 by 98, right? So these are the remaining terms. I hope you are clear with this. It is equal to 4k. Okay. So now, again, we have to use the property of log m minus log n. Okay. So it will be log m by n. So we have 1 by 100 into log of 30 into 98 divided by 2 into 70, right? Because log m, log 30 upon 70 upon n, 2 upon 98. So we have 30 into 98 divided by 2 into 70. Okay. This is equals to 4k. Okay. Now, if we want the value of k, then this 4 will go to the left hand side. Okay. So we have 1 by 4 into 100 is 400 multiplied by log of. Now the 0 and 0 will be cancelled. Okay. So 3 into 98. All right. 3 into 98 divided by 2. So 98 into 3 gives 8 3s are 24, 9 3s are 27, 28 and 29. Okay. 294. Okay. 294 upon 7 into 2 is 40. So we have 294 upon 40. Right. Now 14 has its multiple. Okay. 14 into 1 is 14 and 14 into 2 is 28 and 14 into 1 is again 14. So when we multiply 14 with 21, we get 294. Okay. So here we have 294 upon 14, right? It is equal to k. We have already taken this 4 to the left hand side. So 294 upon 14 is 21. So we have 1 upon 400 into log of 21 is equal to k. Now we have the value of k, right? What is the value of k? It is 1 by 400 into log of 21. Okay. Now let us do one thing. Let us put the value of k again in this expression. Okay. So we have the expression in the form of x. Let us put the value of k here. Okay. So when we put the value of k again, we have 1 by 100 into log of x into 98 divided by 2 into 100 minus x is equal to t into 1 by 400 into log of 21. See, this is the value of k. Kt means t into k, right? So we have substituted the value of k here. Okay. Now, we have to find the value at 8 days. Okay. It is given that number of infected students on 8th day means time is given, which is 8. We have to find x. What is x? The number of infected students, right? So it means that time is given. What is time? Time is equal to 8. So let us substitute time is equal to 8 and we have to find the value of x, right? So it will be 1 by 100 log of x into 98, right? So what will be x into 98? See, this 2 ones are 2 and 2 into 49 is 98. So we have 49 into x, right? So 49x divided by 100 minus x is equal to t into 1 by 400 log of 21. Now what is the value of t? It is 8. So let us put it 1 upon 100 into log of 49x divided by 100 minus x is equal to 8 into 1 upon 400 into log of 21. Okay. This 8 and 400 will be also cancelled. 2 4s are 8 and 2 into 200 is 400. 2 2s are 4 and 2 into again 100 is 200. Okay. So we have 2 by 100 log of 21. Okay. This 100 and this 100 will be also cancelled. So the remaining terms are log 49x divided by 100 minus x is equal to 2 log 21. We have to use another basic property, which is n log m. What is n log m? It is equal to log m power n. We have 2 log 21. So it will be equals to log 21 power 2, right? So log of 49x upon 100 minus x will be equals to log of 21 square. Log and log will be cancelled. So what are the remaining terms? 49x upon 100 minus x is equal to 21 square, right? 21 square means 21 into 21. So 49x upon 100 minus x is equal to 21 into 21. So x upon 100 minus x will be equal to 21 into 21 upon 49. This 49 is in multiplication. So when it will go to the right hand side, it will be in the divide form, right? Now, when we cancel this, 7 sevens are 49, 7 threes are 21. Again, 7 threes are 21. So 3 into 3 will be 9. So we have x upon 100 minus x is equal to 9. Now we have to cross multiply. Okay. So we have x into 1 is x is equal to 9 into 100 is 900 minus 9 into x is 9x, right? So again taking this 9x on the left hand side, x plus 9x is equal to 900. So 10x is equal to 900 and x will be equal to 900 upon 10. So 0 and 0 will be cancelled. So x will be equal to 90. What is x? X is the number of infected students when time is 8 days. Okay. So for this question, the correct answer is 90. We can say that when we have 8th day, then the number of students infected are 90. So for this question, the correct answer is 90. I hope you are clear with this question. It is a little bit tricky, but it is very easy. Next question is, let PQ be a focal chord of length 6.25 units of the parabola y square is equal to 4x. If O is the vertex of the parabola, then 10 times the area in square units of triangle POQ is equal to. Firstly, let us understand this question by making a diagram, right? A triangle is formed here, a parabola is given here. So let us first make the diagram just to understand it better. We have the equation of parabola, which is y square is equal to 4x. We know that the standard equation of parabola is y square is equal to 4ax. And the given equation is y square is equal to 4x. So when we compare both this value, the value of a is 1. Okay, now let us make the coordinate axis. A parabola is given here. So consider this as the required parabola, which is y square is equal to 4x. This is the curve for y square is equal to 4x. It is given that PQ is a focal chord of length 6.25 units. So let us make a focal chord. Let this be PQ. Its length is 6.25 units, right? And O is the vertex, means the origin. So it is 0, 0. A triangle is formed which is OPQ. So let us join OP and Q. You can see that a triangle is formed here. We have to find the area of this triangle, right? And as we know that PQ is the focal chord. Focal chord is a line that passes through the focus. It means that this point is focus. And what is focus? Focus is always equals to a comma 0. All right. So a is 1. So we have focus 1 comma 0. So this point is 1 comma 0. Now, if we talk about the extremities, what are the extremities? We have a focal chord P and Q. So if we talk about one extremity, which is point P, then we have the coordinates of P as 80 square comma 280. And if we talk about another extremity, which is Q, then the coordinates of Q will be A upon T square and minus 2A upon T. So this is very basic thing that you have to remember for a focal chord. These are the coordinates for a focal chord. Okay. So the coordinates of P are 80 square comma 280 and the coordinates of Q are A upon T square and minus 2A upon T. Okay. Now length of the focal chord is given, which is 6.25 units. We know there is a very basic formula for length of focal chord, and the formula is length of focal chord is equals to A into T plus 1 upon T whole square. We know the value of A. A is 1. Okay. So it is 1 into T plus 1 upon T whole square. And the value of length of focal chord is already given in the question, right? It is given that PQ is a focal chord of length 6.25. Means the length of focal chord is 6.25. So 6.25 is equal to 1 into T plus 1 upon T square. Okay. Now 6.25 will be equal to T plus 1 upon T square. Right. Now 6.25 is basically equal to what? 625 divided by 100. Okay. It is equals to 25 upon 4. It is equal to T plus 1 upon T whole square. Okay. So when we take this square on the left hand side, then we have t plus 1 by t is equal to under root of 25 upon 4. What is under root of 25 upon 4? It is 5 upon 2. So we have t plus 1 by t is equal to 5 by 2. Now let us solve this further. By taking the LCM, we have t square plus 1 upon t is equal to 5 by 2. Now on cross multiplying, we have 2t square plus 2 is equal to 5t. Let us take all the terms on one side. So 2t square plus 2 minus 5t is equal to 0. Let us arrange it in the terms of powers. So 2t square minus 5t plus 2 is equal to 0. Now let us find the factors for this equation. Okay. So let us split the middle term. We have to use this splitting the middle term method here, in which we have to split middle term in two numbers, and the numbers should be in this way that when we add both the numbers, then we get the middle term, and when we multiply both the numbers, then it should be equal to the product of first and last term. What is first and last term here? 2t square and 2. So 2t square into 2 is 4t square. So the two numbers should have a product equal to 4t square and the sum equal to minus 5t. So two numbers can be minus 4t minus t. When we add both this, it is minus of 5t. And when we multiply minus 4t with minus t, then we have 4t square. So the two numbers are minus 4t minus t. So 2t square minus 5t can be written as minus 4t minus t plus 2 is equal to 0. When we take 2t common from the first two terms, the remaining terms are t minus 2. Then when we take minus 1 common from the next two terms, remaining terms will be t minus 2. Now you can see that t minus 2 is also common. And what are the remaining terms? 2t minus 1 is equal to 0. So from here we have two different values of t, right? T will be equals to 2 and t will be equals to 1 by 2. For now, let us take the value of t as 2. All right. So now we can easily find the coordinates of p and q. What are the coordinates of p? At square, comma 2at. So t is 1 by 2 and a is 1. Okay. A is 1 and t is 1 by 2. But for now, we are taking t is equal to 2. Okay. So the coordinates will be a into 2 square. So 1 into 2 square. So 4. 2 into a into t means 2 into 1 into 2. So again 4. Now about q. The coordinates of q are a upon t square, comma minus 2a upon t. Right? So a is 1 and t is again 2. So we have the coordinates as 1 by 4 and minus 1 by 2. Okay. Now what we have to do is we have to just focus on this diagram. You can see that here this triangle is triangle POQ, and we have to find the area for this triangle, right? So how can we find the area for this triangle? It is very, very simple, right? We have to use the formula for area of triangle, right? Area of triangle is half into base into height. But again, focus on the question. In the question, one thing is given that we have to find 10 times the area of triangle POQ. Means we have to multiply it by 10. Okay. So multiplying by 10. Now when we keep the value of base and height, okay, the area will be 25. So the area for the triangle POQ is 25. So for this question, the correct answer is 25. I hope you are clear with this question. Next question is, consider a triangle ABC whose vertices are A, B and C, and the coordinates of A are 0, alpha, alpha. Coordinates of B are alpha, 0 and alpha, and coordinates of C are alpha, alpha, 0. Where alpha is greater than 0, let D be a point moving on the line x plus z minus 3 is equal to 0 is equal to y, and G be the centroid of the triangle ABC if the minimum length of GD is under root of 57 upon 2, then alpha is equal to. It is a very, very interesting question. It is given that consider a triangle ABC whose vertices are A, B and C. So first let us make a triangle. And the vertices of this triangle are A, B and C. So let us name it A, B and C. The coordinates of A are 0, alpha and alpha. Coordinates of B are alpha, 0, alpha. and coordinates of C are alpha, alpha and 0. It is given that G is the centroid of triangle ABC. So let us make a center point here. So this is G, which is the centroid of triangle ABC. All right. And D is a point that is moving on the line x plus z minus 3 is equal to 0. And it is equal to y. So a line is given here. First, let us do one thing. Let us find the centroid of this triangle. What is the centroid? G is the centroid. Do you know how to calculate centroid of a triangle? The formula to calculate centroid is x1 plus x2 plus x3 divided by 3, y1 plus y2 plus y3 divided by 3, and z1 plus z2 plus z3 divided by 3. We have the coordinates of A, B and C. So this is x1, x2 and x3. This is y1, y2 and y3. And this is z1, z2 and z3. So now let us put the values here. What is the centroid? G. So G is equal to x1 plus x2 plus x3. The values are 0, alpha and alpha. So 0 plus alpha divided by 3. Then y1 plus y2 plus y3. The values are alpha plus 0 plus alpha divided by 3. Then z1 plus z2 plus z3. The values are alpha, alpha and 0. So we have alpha plus 0 divided by 3. On adding this, alpha plus alpha is 2 alpha divided by 3. Again alpha plus alpha is 2 alpha divided by 3. And again alpha plus alpha is 2 alpha divided by 3. This is the value of the centroid, which is 2 alpha by 3, 2 alpha by 3 and 2 alpha by 3. It is also given that D is a point that is moving on the line x plus z minus 3 is equal to 0 is equal to y. Okay, but we don't know the coordinates of point D. So let the coordinates of point D be h comma 0 comma k. All right. Since it is given that it is moving on the line x plus z minus 3 is equal to 0. So it means that we are letting x is equal to h and z is equal to k, right? So if x is equal to h and z is equal to k, this equation becomes h plus k minus 3 is equal to 0. It means that h will be equal to 3 minus k. When these two terms will go to the right hand side, then h will be 3 minus k. All right. Now substitute this value here. So the coordinates of D will be h. What is h? 3 minus k. Next coordinate is 0 and next coordinate is k. So these are the coordinates of D, right? Now let us find GD. Okay. What is GD? GD is the distance from G to point D, because minimum length of GD is given, which is under root of 57 upon 2. That is why we are calculating GD. Do you know how to find the length or the distance between 2 points? We have to use the distance formula. What is the distance formula? Distance formula is under root of x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square plus z2 minus z1 square. We have 2 points G and D. Okay, this is the point G and this is the point D. G have 3 coordinates and D also have 3 coordinates, right? So first is x2 minus x1. It means we have to let the values, right? So let this be x1, y1 and z1, and let this be x2, y2 and z2, right? So x2 minus x1. What is x2? It is 2 alpha by 3 minus z1. What is, sorry, minus x1, right? What is x1? 3 minus k. So minus of x1 means minus of 3 minus k plus y2 minus y1. What is y2? y2 is 2 alpha by 3 minus y1. y1 is 0. So minus 0 plus z2 minus z1. What is z2? Again 2 alpha by 3 minus z1. What is z1? K and its square. We have substituted all the values. So it will be equal to under root of 2 alpha by 3 minus 3 and minus minus plus k whole square, right? You also have to put square here. Plus next is 2 alpha by 3 minus 0 is 2 alpha by 3 and square plus 2 alpha by 3 minus k square. So this is the value of GD, right? This is the distance of GD, all right? Now let us square on both the sides just to remove this under root. So we have GD square is equal to 2 alpha by 3 minus 3 plus k whole square plus 2 alpha by 3 whole square plus 2 alpha by 3 minus k whole square, right? This is the value of GD square, all right? Now let us do one thing. Let this GD be equals to D. Since it is distance, so we can denote it as D, right? So D square will be equal to 2 alpha by 3 minus 3 plus k whole square plus 2 alpha by 3 whole square plus 2 alpha by 3 minus k whole square, right? Now let us do one thing. Let us differentiate both the sides with respect to k. So when we differentiate it, d by dx of d square will be 2d. Again, d by dx of d will be d dash, right? We know that there is a formula which is d by dx of x to the power n. It is n into x power n minus 1. Similarly, we have d by dx of d power 2. So it will be 2 into d power 2 minus 1. So that is why we have 2d. And again, we have to differentiate d also. So differentiation of d will be d dash. Now about the right hand side, you can see that in right hand side we have again the form of x power n. So d by dx of x power n is n into x power n minus 1. So what is x here? 2 alpha by 3 minus 3 plus k. And 2 minus 1 will be 1. Okay. Plus now the second term. For second term, when we do differentiation, you can see that here this is a constant. 2 alpha by 3 is a constant. Okay. So it will be 0. Plus when we differentiate this term, 2 alpha by 3 minus k whole square. Again, it is in the form of x power n. So it will be n into x power n minus 1. We have to use this formula here, right? So what is n? N is 2. And what is x? X is 2 alpha by 3 minus k. So n into x. 2 into x. X is 2 alpha by 3 minus k. Power n minus 1. 2 minus 1 is 1 only, right? Again, we have to differentiate minus k. Okay. K is a constant. So it will be 0 and minus 1 will be remaining. So into minus of 1. So this is the differentiation. Now we know that in order to find the maximum or minimum value, the differentiation should be actually 0, right? So here in this question, we have to find that the value of alpha is, okay, but before that minimum length is given, okay, and we are calculating GD. Why? Because we want some expression that will be equal to root 57 by 2. And in order to calculate the minimum or maximum distance, we know that the differentiation or d dash should be equal to 0. It means that this whole term should be equal to 0, right? So let us write it first. If d dash is equal to 0, it means that this whole term should be equal to 0, right? So what is d dash? It is 2 into 2 alpha by 3 minus 3 plus k. Here this minus 1 will be multiplied, so it will be minus. So minus 2 into 2 alpha by 3 minus k. This is equal to 0, right? Now let us do one thing. Let us take this term on the right hand side. So we have 2 into 2 alpha by 3 minus 3 plus k is equal to 2 into 2 alpha by 3 minus k, right? We have separated both the terms. Here this 2 and 2 will be cancelled, right? And then 2 alpha by 3 and 2 alpha by 3 will be also cancelled. So we have minus 3 plus k is equal to minus k. So from here, minus 3 will be equal to minus k, minus k. Minus 3 will be equal to minus of 2k. This minus and minus will be cancelled. So k will be equal to 3 by 2. You can see that we have the value of k, right? Now, one more thing is given here that the minimum length of GD is under root of 57 upon 2. Okay. So what is the length of GD? It is given that GD is equal to under root of 57 upon 2. It means that GD square will be equal to 57 upon 2. When we square both the sides, then this root will be cancelled. But do you remember we have the value for GD square? What is GD square? This is the value of GD square. So let us substitute this value there, right? So substituting the value of GD square here. What is GD square? 2 alpha by 3 minus 3 plus 3 by 2 whole square plus 2 alpha by 3 whole square plus 2 alpha by 3 minus 3 by 2 whole square, it is equal to what? 57 upon 2. Now let us do one thing. Let us square all these terms. Okay. So when we square 2 alpha, it will be 4 alpha square. Square of 2 is 4 and square of alpha will be alpha square. Then 3. 3 square is 9. Now let us simplify this term. Okay. Taking minus sign outside, we have 3 plus 3 by 2. Okay. When we take the LCM, it will be equal to 2. Then 2 into 3 is 6. 6 plus 3. 6 plus 3 is 9 by 2. Okay. So this expression is equal to 9 by 2. Now what is square of 9 by 2? Square of 9 is 81 divided by square of 2 is 4. Right? Plus. Now square of 2 alpha is again 4 alpha square. Square of 3 is 9. Plus. Again, this minus 3 by 2. You can see that minus 3 by 2 can be written as minus 3 plus 3 by 2. Right? Because when we solve this, let us solve this, we will get back this term. Minus 3 plus 3 by 2. LCM is 2. 2 into minus 3 is minus 6 plus 3. What is minus 6 plus 3? It is minus 3 by 2. Okay, so in the place of minus 3 by 2, we can write minus 3 plus 3 by 2. So let us write it. 2 alpha by 3 minus 3 plus 3 by 2 whole square, it is equal to 57 by 2. Right? Now what we can do is, you can see that we have 4 alpha square. And here 81. What is 81? It is actually the square of 9. Okay. It means that it can be written as 9 square. So let us write it 4 alpha square minus 9 square. And here the denominator is 9 and here the denominator is 4. Right? Plus 4 alpha square divided by 9 plus 2 alpha by 3 minus again 3 plus 3 by 2. 3 plus 3 by 2 is 9 by 2. And what is the square of 9 by 2? It is 81 by 4. Okay. But we are not taking the square now. Let it be like this. It is equal to 57 by 2. Okay. Now let us take the square of the last term. So for here you can see that we can take this power in a combination. We can combine this power. Okay. So we can write it 4 alpha minus 9 whole square. Right? Divided by 9 into 4 is 36. Right? Plus 4 alpha square by 9 plus again this square will be equal to what? 4 alpha square divided by 9 minus 81 divided by 4. And this is equal to 57 by 2. Okay. So now the first term is 4 alpha minus 9 whole square divided by 36 plus. Second term is 4 alpha square by 9. And what will be third term? You can see that it is in same form. 81 is 9 square. So we can combine the powers. So it will be 4 alpha minus 9 whole square. And when we take the LCM, LCM will be 9 into 4, which is 36. Now this is equal to 57 by 2. Now let us take the LCM of this whole expression. The LCM will be 36, right? So the first term will be 4 alpha minus 9 whole square plus what is second term? You can see denominator is 9. 9 into 4 is 36. So 4 alpha square into 4 will be what? 16 alpha square plus next will be 4 alpha minus 9 whole square. This is equal to 57 by 2. Okay. So now let us take this 36 on the right hand side. So we have 4 alpha minus 9 whole square plus 16 alpha square plus 4 alpha minus 9 whole square is equal to 57 by 2 into 36. 2 into 18 is 36. So on the right hand side, we have 57 into 18. Okay. Now we have to use two basic properties. The properties are a minus b whole square. What is a minus b whole square? A square plus b square minus 2ab. You can see that the first term is in the same form, a minus b whole square. So let's apply this formula. A square means 4 alpha square. So what is square of 4 alpha? 16 alpha square plus b square. What is b? 9. 9 square is 81. Minus 2ab means minus 2 into 9 into 4 alpha. Okay, so what is 2 into 9? It is 18. 18 into 4 alpha. It will be 72 alpha. Plus next term is 16 alpha square. Now again this is in the form of a minus b whole square. So it will be again 16 alpha square plus 81 minus 72 alpha. And on the right hand side we have 57 into 18. What is 57 into 18? It is 1026. Now let us add all the terms. 16 alpha square plus 16 alpha square plus 16 alpha square. It is 48 alpha square. Now add the terms for alpha. Minus 72 minus 72. So it will be minus of 144 alpha. 81 and 81. Okay. What is 81 and 81? It is 162. So plus 162. It is equal to 1026. Now let us take all the terms on the left hand side first. So we have 48 alpha square minus 144 alpha plus 162 minus 1026. It is equal to 0, right? So we have 48 alpha square plus 144 alpha plus. Now we want to know the value of what? 162 minus 1026, right? But let us write it in same way because we can take 2 common. Now when we take 2 common from this expression, the remaining terms will be 24 alpha square minus 72 alpha plus 81 minus 513. It will be equal to 0. Okay, when this 2 will go to the right hand side, 2 into 0 will be 0. So what is the remaining terms? 24 alpha square minus 72 alpha. Now 81 minus 513 is 432 and minus of 432 because 513 is the bigger digit. Now this is equal to 0. Again, you can see that we can take 24 common. So when we take 24 common, the remaining terms will be what? Alpha square minus 3 alpha because 24 into 3 is 72, right? Minus 24 into 18 gives 432. So this is equal to 0. So now the expression is alpha square minus 3 alpha minus 18 is equal to 0. Okay. Now what we can do is we can find the factors of this expression. How to find the factors of this expression? We have to use splitting the middle term method here. What is this method? Let us understand this method first, right? This is a method in which the middle term is splitted in such a way that we have to find two numbers, and when we add those two numbers, then it should be equal to the middle term, and when we multiply those two numbers, then it should be equal to the product of first and last term. So what is the product of first and last term? First term is alpha square, last term is minus 18. Product is minus 18 alpha square, right? And what is the middle term? Middle term is minus 3 alpha. We have to find two numbers whose product should be equal to minus 18 alpha square and whose sum should be equal to minus 3 alpha. So the two numbers can be minus 6 alpha and plus 3 alpha. Okay. When we add these values, we get minus 3 alpha. And when we multiply minus 6 alpha into 3 alpha, then we get minus of 18 alpha square, right? So the two numbers are minus 6 alpha plus 3 alpha. So this middle term can be written as minus 6 alpha plus 3 alpha. So in this way, we have split it minus 3 alpha into two parts. This is the first part and this is the second part. So we can substitute this value. So alpha square minus 6 alpha plus 3 alpha minus 18 is equal to 0. Now from the first and second term, when we take alpha common, then remaining terms will be alpha minus 6. Then when we take plus 3 common, remaining terms will be alpha minus 6. We have taken plus 3 common from 3 alpha minus 18, right? Again, you can see that alpha minus 6 is common. And what are the remaining terms? Alpha plus 3. So these are the two factors for alpha. Now we have two values of alpha. When alpha minus 6 will be equal to 0, alpha will be equals to plus 6. And when alpha plus 3 will be equal to 0, alpha will be equal to minus of 3, right? But you can see that in question it is clearly given that the value of alpha is greater than 0. Okay. What is the value of alpha? It is actually greater than 0. It means that we have to accept only the value which is greater than 0. Okay. Alpha is greater than 0. According to this condition, the value which is acceptable is alpha is equal to 6. Because alpha is equal to minus 3 is not greater than 0, right? So it is not acceptable. Possible value of alpha is only plus 6. So we can say that for this question, the correct answer is 6. I hope you are clear with this question. And the correct answer is 6 here. Next question is, let S1 is equal to x belongs to 0 to 12 pi such that sine power 5x plus cos power 5x is equal to 1 and S2 is equal to x belongs to 0 to 8 pi such that sine power 7x plus cos power 7x is equal to 1. Then n of S1 minus n of S2 is equal to. What is n of S1 and n of S2? N is the number of values that lies for this given expression, right? And here for S1 it is given that x belongs to 0 to 12 pi. So firstly let us write both the given set. S1 is x belongs to 0 comma 12 pi. It means that the value of x lies between 0 and 12 pi, and sine power 5x plus cos power 5x is equal to 1, right? Means when we put the values of x here, then this expression will be equal to 1. Set S2 is x belongs to 0 comma 8 pi such that sine power 7x plus cos power 7x is equal to 1. Before moving on to the solution of this question, we need to understand the condition that will satisfy this given expressions. The condition is when sin x is equal to 1 and cos x is equal to 0, or when cos x is equal to 1 and sin x is equal to 0. Both this set will be satisfied only for these two conditions, right? So let us now look at set 1. If we are talking about set 1, the expression is sine power 5x plus cos power 5x is equal to 1. This satisfy only when we have sin x is equal to 1 and cos x is equal to 0. Now, what do you mean by sin x is equal to 1? Means we have to put such value of x, then we get sine of x is equal to 1. For example, we know that sine of pi by 2 is equal to 1, right? And cos x is equal to 0. We know that cos of pi by 2 is 0. So pi by 2 is a single value for x. So in this way, we have to find all the values of x for which sin x is equal to 1 and cos x is equal to 0. And the value should lie between 0 to 12 pi. Okay. So let us see the values. X will be equal to pi by 2, 5 pi by 2, 9 pi by 2, 13 pi by 2, 17 pi by 2 and 21 pi by 2. For all these values, we will have sin x is equal to 1 and cos x is equal to 0. Okay, it means that sin pi by 2, sin 5 pi by 2, sin 9 pi by 2, sin 13 pi by 2, sin 17 pi by 2, sin 21 pi by 2 is equal to 1. And similarly, cos of pi by 2, cos of 5 pi by 2, cos of 9 pi by 2, cos of 13 pi by 2, cos of 17 pi by 2 and cos of 21 pi by 2 will be equal to 0. All right. So we have total 6 values here when the condition is sin x is equal to 1 and cos x is equal to 0. Now let us talk about another condition when cos x is equal to 1 and when sin x is equal to 0. Okay, we are talking about set 1. So when we have this condition, then the values of x will be 0, 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi, 8 pi, 10 pi and 12 pi. Okay. Remember that for this set, we have to take the values between 0 and 12 pi. So we cannot take more than 12 pi. All right. See here, x is 0. We know that cos 0 is 1 and sin 0 is 0. So for all these values of x, we will have cos x is equal to 1 and sin x is equal to 0. Now let us add all the values. Here the values are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. So for set 1, we have total 13 values. Okay, means we have n of S1 is equal to 13. Now let us talk about set 2. In set 2, the expression that is given is sine power 7x plus cos power 7x. And here x belongs to 0 to 8 pi. It means that we have to take the values of x from 0 to 8 pi, not more than 8 pi, right? So the expression is sine power 7x plus cos power 7x is equal to 1. Again, this condition will be satisfied only when sin x will be equal to 1 and cos x will be equal to 0, right? And we know that we have to take the x from 0 to 8 pi. Remember this. So the values of x will be pi by 2. We know that sin pi by 2 is 1 and cos pi by 2 is 0. 5 pi by 2, 9 pi by 2 and 13 pi by 2. We can only take up to 13 pi by 2 because here the range is given 0 to 8 pi. You can see that for set 1 we have taken up to 21 pi by 2 because here the range was from 0 to 12 pi. Okay, but for set 2 we have to take the values of x that lies between 0 and 8 pi. So these are the 4 values of x for the condition sin x is equal to 1 and cos x is equal to 0. Now what is the second condition? It should also satisfy sin x is equal to 0 and cos x is equal to 1. Okay, so the possible values for x for this will be 0, 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi and 8 pi. We know that sine 0 is 0, cos 0 is 1. Sine 2 pi, sine 4 pi, sine 6 pi, and sine 8 pi will be 0. And similarly, cos 2 pi, cos 4 pi, cos 6 pi, and cos 8 pi will be 1. So here the total number of values are 5. So what are the total values for set S2? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So here we have total 9 values. It simply means that n of S2 is what? 9. Okay. Now what we have to find? We have to basically find n of S1 minus n of S2. What is n of S1? It is 13. Minus what is n of S2? It is 9. See, we have already calculated it. N of S1 is 13 and n of S2 is 9. So the difference of n of S1 and n of S2 is 13 minus 9, which is equal to 4. So for this question, this value is equal to 4 and the correct answer is 4. I hope you are clear with this question. And I hope all the concepts related to each and every questions are clear to you. Keep learning more and keep scoring high.